Good evening and welcome to the Top 25 Rundown presented by the Sportscast. Today is June 7th, 2023. If you haven't yet, please subscribe on all your channels YouTube, Twitter, Twitch.tv, and Apple Podcasts. If you're on Apple Podcasts, please leave a rating and review. It'll help us out tremendously. We are also on DAB Digital Radio. You can listen to us on your smart speaker, play Sportscast. Visit us on thesportscast.net. Also follow us on Twitter at the Sportscast1 and check out our app, the Sportscast, in the iOS App Store. Hello, my name is Alan West. Welcome to the Top 25 Rundown. Run a little bit behind, just like how Oklahoma and Florida State is today. They were supposed to start at 7:30. They went through two weather delays and did not finish. They were in the mid first inning when they finally were able to start at 10. Right now, they're in the third inning in a scoreless game, so we're going to see how that goes. In other sports news today, we do have the NBA Finals going on, and it's in the fourth quarter right now with the Heat losing to the Nuggets 93 to 75 with about 7.5 minutes left to go in the game. We'll see how that goes. In other sports news, Lionel Messi has agreed to terms to come to the MLS with Inter Miami. The deals are still being worked out, but if it does finish, this is going to be huge for not only soccer here in America, but also for college soccer as well, because you're going to see other recruits who are going to want to come and play. So we're going to see how that goes later on, just with the impact in recruiting, not only for the NCAA, but for soccer all around. Today, you're also having the 2023 Outdoor Track and Field Championships. You're having qualifying today for the finals that are going to be on Friday. And Rose Zhang, we talked about her last week. She was the only two-time NCAA women's golf champion in NCAA history. She entered her first LPGA tournament win, and she won. Became the first golfer in 72 years who won her debut. It's, and unfortunately, that does happen. Wake Forest won the women's national championship for golf, which we talked about. But she was the first player to win an LPGA debut since Beverly Hansen back in 1951. She beat Jennifer Kupko in a two-hole sudden death playoff, and she ended her first tournament -9 overall with rounds of 70, 66, 69, 66, and 74. And with that victory, she earned automatic tour membership. So, congratulations to Rose Zhang, the two-time defending champion. This is how her career starts, and I can only see it being bigger and better depending on the different things that are going to happen. All right. Last week we talked about the NCAA regionals for baseball, and we also talked about the super regionals for softball. So I believe Bob's going to come on later, and I have a bad feeling I may eat some crow because I believe he did say it was going to be Oklahoma and Florida State for softball, and he was correct on that one. So we're going to see about that because we made picks for that. And we also made the picks for baseball for the teams that we thought were going to make it out of the regionals. All right, welcome back. So for the Winston-Salem division, Wake Forest did come out as the winner there. In Tuscaloosa, Alabama, the 16th seed was able to advance. They both made it through with 0 losses so far. Now we have the double elimination in super regionals, where it's going to be Wake Forest against Alabama. In Coral Gables, Texas advanced, and the Stanford regionals, Stanford advanced. So they will both face off in the super regional. Then you have LSU, which advanced out of the Baton Rouge regional, and Kentucky advanced out of the Lexington regional. In the Auburn regional, you had Southern Miss advance out there. Auburn was a seeded team; they were eliminated. In the Clemson regional, you had Tennessee advance, and Clemson was eliminated, so they'll be playing in their regional. In the Fayetteville regional, Arkansas was eliminated, TCU advanced. In the Terre Haute individual regional, Indiana State advanced. In the Stillwater regional, Oklahoma State was upset and Oral Roberts advanced. In the National regional, Vanderbilt was upset as a ranked team and Oregon advanced. In the Charlottesville regional, number 7 UVA advanced. In the Conway regional, Coastal Carolina was upset and Duke advanced. In the Columbia regional, South Carolina advanced as a ranked seed, and in Gainesville, number 2 Florida advanced. So for the super regional, we're going to have Wake in Alabama, Florida and South Carolina, Stanford and Texas, UVA and Duke, LSU and Kentucky, Oral Roberts and Oregon, Tennessee and Southern Miss, and Indiana State and TCU. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 teams that were ranked at the beginning of the tournament still advanced to make it to the super regionals. And then the winners of those we'll have two brackets and we'll have finals. Also, I've been seeing it for recruiting, the one player who was coming out of UC Riverside transfer point guard Poland. He has decided that he is going to Florida. And it looks like UConn's going to get Cam Spencer from Rutgers. And recruit Simeon Welcher has decided he's going to decommit from North Carolina, so he's reopening his recruitment. He decided that after top 10 card Elliot Cadeau decided to reclassify into the 2023 class so he could be at the Tar Heels this year. So, with Cadeau deciding to declassify and come this year, he's going to reopen up his recruitment and it's going to have offers from Nebraska, Overton Elite, and probably St. John's Rick Pitino. He will probably be in the thick of it as well. Marquette also decided to extend Shaka Smart's contract till 2029-2030, which I believe that's going to be a good move for them. Starting to see how going to have different recruiting that's going to start. In other news, Kyle Rudolph today was acquitted for the 3 shooting deaths of different people that happened in Florida. In recruiting for Clemson, they've landed another number 5 receiver for 2024. And the number 1 2024 inside linebacker has announced he's committed to Clemson. And his name is Sammy Brown. So he is number 17 overall in the ESPN 100 or the ESPN 300. The big news in college football right now is the Pac-12 deal, TV deal is still being worked on, and how is to which teams are going to stay or which teams are going to leave. That also the ex-USFL president Brian Woods is going to start a prep super league for spring football for high school players in 2024. We're going to see how that goes just because since most teams are used to playing during the fall, seeing how they play in the spring, the question is, will that be better in chances for recruiting or if it's going to help them later on? Going back to men's baseball, Wake Forest, they won in their bracket against Northeastern, Maryland, George Mason. In the Tuscaloosa bracket, Alabama beat Nichols, was the team that survived over Nichols State, Troy, and Boston College. In the Coral Gables Regional, Texas was able to advance over Maine, Miami, and Louisiana Lafayette with Raging Cajuns. In the Stanford Regional, Stanford was able to advance over San Jose State, Cal State Fullerton, and Texas A&M. In the Baton Rouge Regional, LSU advanced over Tulane, Sam Houston, and Oregon State. In the Lexington Regional, Kentucky advanced over Ball State, West Virginia, and Indiana. In the Auburn Regional, Southern Miss advanced over Auburn, Samford, and Penn. In the Clemson Regional, Tennessee advanced over Clemson, Lipscomb, and Charlotte. In the Fayetteville Regional, TCU advanced over Arkansas, Arizona, and Santa Clara. In the Terre Haute individual regional, Indiana State advanced over Wright State, UNC, and Iowa. In the Stillwater regional, Oklahoma, Oral Roberts advanced over Oklahoma State, Washington, and DBU as well. The National Regional, Oregon advanced over Vanderbilt, Eastern Michigan, and Xavier. And the Charlottesville Regional, UVA advanced over Army, East Carolina, and Oklahoma. And the Conway Regional, Duke advanced over Coastal Carolina, UNC Wilmington, and Rider. In the Columbia Regional, South Carolina advanced over Central Connecticut, NC State, and Campbell. In the Gainesville Regional, Florida advanced over Florida A&M, Texas Tech, and UConn. Now, I know Bob is probably going to join us in a few minutes, but before he comes on, I'm gonna make my picks, and then we'll see what he says about them. But I'm gonna pick Wake Forest over Alabama in the All SEC showdown. I'm gonna pick South Carolina for the upset against Stanford and Texas. I'm gonna pick Stanford. In the All ACC matchup, I think UVA is going to beat Duke, so I'm going to pick them. For LSU and Kentucky, another All SEC matchup, I will take LSU. For Oral Roberts against Oregon, I'm going to take Oral Roberts. For Tennessee against Southern Miss, I'm going to take Tennessee. And for the not exactly Cinderella story of the tournament, I am going to pick Indiana State over TCU. So we're going to see how that goes, but I would definitely be more curious. You know what? There are certain teams